Joseph Anthony Peterbers was born on November 25, 1924 in St. Paul, Minnesota, and grew up in the suburbs of Wisconsin during the Great Depression, in a modest household that valued hard work and deep faith. In his youth, he dreamed of studying theology and entering the priesthood, but everything changed when he heard news of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. Feeling a strong call to serve his country, he applied to join the U.S. Army Air Forces in November 1942. Exactly on his 18th birthday, he traveled to Miami Beach, Florida, for basic training, then was sent on to Nashville, Tennessee, for intensive flight instruction. In November 1944, Second Lieutenant Peterbers was assigned to the 20th Fighter Group's 55th Squadron at King's Cliff Airfield in England. Within weeks, he flew his first combat mission in December 1944, piloting his P-51 Mustang, christened Josephine, in honor of his fiancée. Through the bitter winter months, he gained a reputation for deft maneuvering through smoke and snow, escorting B-17 and B-24 bombers deep into German territory. His unit achieved a high success rate in inflicting losses on enemy air forces. The morning of April 10, 1945, brought an unprecedented challenge. Peterbers and his squadron were tasked with protecting a formation of B-17s targeting transportation hubs near Berlin. During the mission, his men spotted a German Me-262, the first operational jet fighter of the war, and Peterbers boldly intercepted it, shooting it down with his 20mm cannons. After destroying the jet, he pressed a secondary attack on the airport runway, destroying several grounded aircraft. On the return leg, Josephine was hit by heavy ground fire. A fire erupted in her right engine, forcing him to bail out at low altitude. He struck the tail on the way out, but miraculously survived. He landed in a field near the town of Berg, where local civilians gathered around him until he was turned over to German forces and taken to Stalag Evebende, a POW camp northeast of Berlin. He spent about 2 weeks under strict guard, but observed flaws in the nightly security patrols. One calm night, he executed a daring escape, slipping through the barbed wire into the nearby woods. After 3 perilous days on foot, he encountered a Soviet tank unit. Moved by his story, the Soviet soldiers integrated him into their ranks to fight until the war's end on May 8, 1945. Peterbers returned to the United States in the summer of 1945 and married his fiancée, Josephine, in June of that year. They settled in Wisconsin, and he soon rejoined the Air Force, serving in the Korean War, 1950 to 1953. There he flew 76 combat missions and sustained minor injuries that required brief treatment before he returned to flying. In the 1960s, he served in Vietnam, steadily advancing through the ranks until his retirement in 1979 as a colonel after 36 years of continuous active duty. Over the course of his career, Peterbers received numerous decorations reflecting his bravery and dedication, most notably the Distinguished Service Medal, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, 7 oak leaf clusters on his Distinguished Flying Cross ribbon. In 2005, more than 60 years after he downed the Me-262, he met Walter Schultz, the German pilot of that very jet. Their meetings, centered on sharing wartime experiences, turned a battlefield rivalry into a deep friendship, underscoring that peace and forgiveness can emerge from even the bloodiest conflicts. By 2025, at a ceremony organized by British schools as part of the WWII Mail project commemorating the 80th anniversary of the war's end, the retired colonel shared his story with thousands of students. His simple yet profound message was this: courage alone is not enough. It must be joined by a sense of duty and solidarity, and true peace begins with understanding and overcoming the divisions, both great and small, that ignite conflict. All elements of this narrative are drawn from established historical sources and authenticated documents, without fictionalization or interpretive additions.